Des Moines, and all of Central Iowa, welcome to Mac's World Live. Mac's World is your world. Every day we talk about the issues and topics that matter most to you. And as always, it's your voice we want to hear in Mac's World. So join the conversation by calling 515-244-0077. And now, here's the host of Mac's World Live, J. Michael McCoy.
Good afternoon, 7 minutes after 4 on the 16th day of March in the Lord's year 2016. I'm J. Michael McCoy, and this is Mac's World Live. Live here on 99.3 every day from 3 to 5. Some people might say this is a Christian radio station. I say this is a talk station with a biblical worldview. Everything you hear from every single person on this station is from a biblical worldview. But we talk about all the same things that you're dealing with in life. Taxes, death, life, politics, the church, education, social issues, Bible verses, and how to do the right thing because you follow Jesus. So next time somebody says, you know, all I've got anymore is News Radio 1040 because 98.3 is gone, you can say, hey, there's another station, 99.3, a conservative talk station with a biblical worldview. All right, we're going to have a great hour today. By the way, I didn't check with you at the end of the hour. Did we get another Service Legends text from the Service Legends text truth line?
Well, we did not today, but yesterday one came in from Hutch that I didn't get a chance to read.
From Craig?
Yes.
It was his birthday this week, wasn't it?
It was.
And what did he say?
It has nothing to do with his birthday.
Oh. Well,
he's talking about Hillary. And here's,
Hutch?
Yes. And here what he said. He said if Hillary gets charged with anything at all, Obama will give her a full, complete pardon, and off she goes to continue running.
Yeah, I suppose. You know, I don't know. I just still think Joe Biden fits into this somewhere. I just still think, you know, Tom Coates has said for a long time that he thinks that Biden's going to be the guy. And the FBI is going to indict, and Obama's going to say, what am I going to do? It's the FBI. I'm not going to abscond, you know, lawfully somebody. She'll have to step down. He'll put Biden in, and boom, it'll be Biden. Who knows?
Wouldn't it be her VP?
No, because they're not elected yet. She chose the VP. She didn't, right? He didn't have the delegates, or whoever her VP is. He or she doesn't have the delegates. Now, I suppose some argument would be that it could be Bernie, but I don't think anybody in the Democratic Party really wants that.
The Democratic Party also has a safeguard against that in their superdelegate system.
Right.
You know, they can go to that first ballot, and the superdelegates all vote for whoever they want because they can. Then nobody's bound anymore, and then at convention, they can end up nominating anybody.
Yeah. All right, we've got a couple of super guests today. Drew Zahn, Communication Director of the Family Leader. He's here to talk about the big Holy Week worship service that the Family Leader's putting on at the state capitol, west side of the steps, this coming Monday, the 21st, 11:30 to 12:30. And my pastor, Pastor Mike Householder, will be giving the Easter message that day. So, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise, hopefully the weather will be nice enough that we can see you down there at the state capitol on Monday. And you're also going to be, I'm hoping you're going to be handing out something or whatever on the IF 714. Or talking about it, maybe?
Definitely be talking about it if 714 is putting this on. And as you've said several times in the show already, to just emphasize that point, that this is a worship service.
Yeah.
It's a faith service. There's nothing political about it at all. It's about elevating the Lord Jesus Christ at the beginning of Holy Week.
You know how I know that? Because Pastor Mike would never, ever, ever associate with anything political. It doesn't matter if it's right or wrong in anybody's mind. We're just not an issues church. So the fact that he is going to be the deliverer of the good news tells me that this is absolutely not a political rally. So I'm going to be there, and I don't like political rallies, so it's going to be a worship service, and I'm going to be down there and do some worshiping.
Now, it's this Monday coming.
This Monday coming.
Well,
21st.
according to long-range forecast, Monday, mostly sunny with a high near 55.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'll still be comfortable in my shorts. That'd be good. Also, the other guest I have today is Tim Overlin. Tim is the founder of Personhood Iowa, and you just got back from a Personhood convention, or is that, am I saying?
Yeah, it's Cleveland Right to Life puts on. It's one of the, I believe it's the largest pro-life rally in the country now, and a lot of the people involved with it are Personhood or have associated with Personhood. So, yeah, it was a big Personhood event. Phenomenal guests, from the Benham brothers to Jason Jones, who's a movie producer that did Crescendo and Bella and a bunch of other films, pro-life films or Christian films. Star Parker was there. Rebecca Kiesling, who we had in the studio here a few weeks ago, was there. And just 2 days of really just re-energizing and learning and networking. Well, and I want you to share with us what you learned. Maybe can you think of 3 things that you learned? That's 1, 2, 3. A lot of it was reinforcing, I guess, to me. I mean, I sat in on a couple of sessions that were, it might be a little dry for the radio type stuff, but just learning about like in vitro fertilization and if is that acceptable, and some denominations no, some denominations yes. So we heard Rebecca again, and I've heard her speak before, but call us out on exceptions where we just can't abide the exceptions. Star Parker speaking on into the minority communities and how the Roe v. Wade and that type of stuff has just been a blight on the black communities and that type of stuff. So I mean, it's just great stuff. My new favorite blogger, or one of my new favorite bloggers, I think my wife thinks I have a man crush on him, is Matt Walsh, and he was there, and he was really good. If you've ever read Matt online, he's as wordy in person as he is in his blogs, but man, he gets right to the core real quick.
What's the name of his blog?
He's published on the Blaze. I don't know if he has a specific name for his, but he's Blaze. Okay. Yeah. But he doesn't pull any punches. He's phenomenal, and he didn't pull any punches that night as well. So.
All right, well, it'll be nice to hear more. Yeah, what did I hear the other day, a statistic, and I think this is true, that there were more black babies aborted in New York last year than were born.
The statistic nationwide is 3 out of 5 black babies are aborted.
Margaret Sanger is rolling in her hell-based grave right now.
The Klan should be doing cartwheels.
Yeah. Ooh, that's ugly thought.
By the way, I put in the search engine, Matt Walsh, The Blaze, came right up.
Okay. All right. So, and that's a blog. You said you're having a man crush over him?
I love reading his stuff. It's great.
Is it all pro-life?
No, it's all conservative. But he's when he's talking pro-life, I mean, it's bare knuckles.
Chris, you shook your head. Are you familiar with him?
I am. I'm familiar with him. Yeah, I'm familiar with him. He's not, Matt Walsh is not a moderate. I would say he's probably not even a conservative. I would just put him as he's a radical. I don't necessarily say that as a bad thing. I just think that if you like Matt Walsh, you're committed to your ideas, I guess. I mean, he's not a guy who speaks flimsily. He speaks very forcefully. He speaks very boldly. Someone you might enjoy, Mac.
He's a very eloquent firebrand.
Firebrand, that's a good word. That's a much nicer word than crazy loon.
I'll look him up. I'll look him up, and we can.
Although I think he might embrace the term radical. Frankly,
he might. He doesn't.
I think he might.
He's not afraid of. He's not afraid of the fact that he's extreme. I mean, he says things that upset people. He says things.
Oh, I can relate to that.
Yeah. I got called out, actually. It's interesting enough. I like him on Facebook or something. Either I'm friends with him or I like him on Facebook or something like that. And a friend of mine who lives up in northwestern Washington State, because you can imagine where I'm going with that.
Conservative bastion.
The conservative, that's right, where all conservatives live and congregate. A friend of mine called me and a whole bunch of other people out publicly on Facebook for liking him because he said something he says some stuff that's pretty extreme. I don't necessarily agree with everything Matt Walsh says.
Can you share with me, like, what?
I can't remember what it was at the time.
In a minute when we get to break.
It's been a while. I mean, it's been several months. I mean, I don't remember what he said. But I don't necessarily, like I said, I personally don't agree with everything Matt Walsh says.
Yeah, I read one of his most recent blogs where he basically took conservatives, or at least people who are branded as conservatives, to task for supporting Trump. And he was brutal in it, and he listed them by names and explained why, calling them out, the Sean Hannitys and Laura Ingrahams and so forth. He was naming them all over and over again, saying, this is indicative that you're a phony. And he was very brutal about it.
Kind of sounds like Dace. Is that a fair comparison? And remember, I love Steve Dace.
In that he has that same sort of volatile, eloquence. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You don't cross Steve Dace's path and not be called out on it. I mean, that's the fiery brand that he is. All right, I'll look up Matt Walsh in a little bit.
You might add it to your daily reading, or however often it comes out.
Okay,
it's long. He's known for writing long blogs.
Oh, I can't deal. I've got ADH, or I'm hyper, or whatever my parents said I was. All right, but that's true. I have fallen into this thing. If I get so far down a blog, I just lose interest. It's like your memos around the office. Why we should lift the lid before we go potty by Chris Roloff. And there's page after page after page.
It's critical.
Although, you know what I've discovered in my years of editing, because I serve as editor, that with most people's writing, what you really want to do is just skip the first 3 paragraphs, because it takes them that long to get to the point. And then after that, it gets good.
Drew Zahn's with us. We're coming back live on The Truth.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
Hey everybody, I brought Northern Lights Pizza! And it's got Graziano sausage!
Rock and Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens. Rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rock and Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast 1.
21 minutes after 4 on this 16th day of March in the Lord's year 2016. I'm J. Michael McCoy. You know, we boys here today are just having way too much fun. Now, we do have Margie as a studio audience, though. Margie, do you think we've been foul as boys? Absolutely not. Okay, well, if we pass Margie's snuff test, then we must be doing all right. All right, and Nancy's back. For those of you that were with us last Friday, we got visited on the day that Nancy Reagan was buried. We got visited by this little ladybug. We put her on Facebook, and Chris found her today. She was roaming around, and so Nancy's back. So everybody say hi to Nancy.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Nancy.
All right, Bob Montserrat, the Cat in the Hat, watching the chat. Also, the Service Legends Truth text line at 515-809-0993. Your thoughts can always be texted there. Also, it's your voice we want to hear at 515-244-0077. And that's the studio line. Ryan will answer the phone, and you're welcome to come on the air. If714.org. That's the website. No matter what brand of smartphone you have, Android or Apple, you can find the new kind of a hot orange app, and it will remind you at 7:14 in the morning and 7:14 in the evening to pray, because we want to try to pray for revival in this country, and that's based on 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, I will hear them from heaven, and I will forgive their sins and heal their land. What a beautiful thing. And so that's one of the things that Drew is here to talk about today. Chris, did you have something?
I just wanted to point out that Drew had mentioned earlier that it's available on the iPhone. There's not a lot of apps on your iPhone, so if you just do if7:14 on your iPhone, it comes up right away. On your Android device, there's so many apps on an Android machine that you need to put a little bit more. So if you actually put the family leader, if7:14, it's the first thing that comes up. So if you just add the family leader in your search, it cuts down on all the extras. Because with Android stuff, I mean, the apps are sort of limitless. So that's just a good tip. So putting in the family leader, in fact, probably if you just search the family leader, that app will come up because that's a little bit more specific.
Is that in the Apple Play Store?
Yes.
Or not Apple,
the Google
Play Store.
In the Google Play Store.
Oh, there it is.
Chris found it on my phone.
Yeah.
Well, see, I'm the only one in here with an Android, I
No,
think.
Bob's got one, too.
Oh, that's an Android, too?
See, I'm the only one in here that's got a Windows. Maybe the only one of the few in Des Moines that has a Windows phone, and they don't have that app. So I get the text still.
Bob's going to find mine. All right. Tim Overlin is here. That was his voice that you just heard. He was at the Personhood Convention. That's not what it is.
It's called Bringing America Back to Life.
Okay, but it's a personhood convention.
Yeah,
it's an anti-abortion convention.
Pro-life convention.
Pro-life convention, yeah. I told some lady at church the other day, I thought she'd find it funny, but she didn't.
I love stories that start that way.
Yeah. She's a sweet, wonderful woman. She's probably listening right now. Her and I have one thing in common, and that's Jesus. We disagree on everything else. And I said to her the other day, she mentioned something. Oh, I think it was when you brought Rebecca on. She mentioned something. And I said, Eleanor, I said, I've decided that I'm going to be pro-choice. What? You're coming over to my side? Yeah, I think women should choose not to have sex if they don't want to have a baby. Well, that feminist lit me up real quick and started it on me. So I just thought, right, I can be pro-choice, right? No, it's not the word. All right. So tell me some of the wonderful things that you picked up down at this convention.
Well,
rally.
It was a convention, I believe. So, I met some more. You were just talking about Rebecca Kiesling, who was conceived in rape. She's got the Save the One group, and got to meet some folks from her organization. And, it was just another thing that we don't talk as much about with personhood. That Drew and the family leader talks more on this is on marriage and how interconnected those are, and how when the family is the most pro-life father and mother, most pro-life institution, and that's the best for a child, and how a lot of these groups, in fact, Cleveland Right to Life got kicked out of National Right to Life because they decided to add marriage to their to their platform, I guess, if you will. So, but the marriage is critical, and we're being sold out from different denominations, mainline denominations, some Catholic strands, and just we're being sold out, and we're not fighting for that inside the church very well.
Tim, can I ask you a question? One of the things in the pro-life movement that I think I've learned from hanging around with guys like yourself is that in both the state house and in the federal government, in Washington, D.C., there's a lot of pro-life legislation that gets proposed and never goes anywhere. You hear about this a lot. And there are a lot of people that in political office that like to put their name on bills or House files and things like that they know have no chance of going anywhere. Do you guys, was there any discussion at this rally about how to teach the masses that these kinds of false attempts at being pro-life aren't really sufficient, that those things aren't really the things that are going to change the culture? Maybe urging people to, instead of look to their elected officials to simply put their name on pro-life legislation, instead actually support the community, be involved in the church, actually change the culture, make the culture one that is pro-life, a pro-life culture, rather than playing the game with the politicians who seem to want to lie to us and make us think that they're for us when really they have no intention of standing with us.
Yeah, and in particular, Rebecca Kiesling, Star Parker specifically, I remember Matt Walsh, I know did. But yeah, absolutely called out, the pro-life party, right? The one that were supposedly the ones that we support. I know you and I have had this conversation. I'm sure I've had this on with Mac too. That's one of our main messages at Personhood Iowa. It's, these guys they put a bill up or they endorse a bill or something they know is never coming out of committee, or in the state of Iowa, never is going to make it out of the Senate. And we still don't. Still, half the legislation that comes out of the House or out of committee is just it's worthless. I mean, it's just there's nothing to it. So and that's our big push with Personhood Iowa. We've been partnered with the Family Leader and several other groups that is our focus. How can we teach the church first, because we need to get our own house in order first, but how can we teach people in the church that the church is the best place to go and not Planned Parenthood or not the government or whatever? Well, the church has given up its role, its responsibility, I think, in too many cases to the government. We have that Scrooge mentality of we gave it the office. Are the prisons full? Are the hospitals full? I mean, what are you bothering me for? Scrooge at the beginning, not Scrooge at the end. I've determined I'm going to differentiate because I want to be Scrooge at the end. He was awesome.
He was awesome.
But we've done that. We feel like we paid our taxes. Why are you bothering me? I mean, I tithe, sort of. I put some money in the plate. Why are you bothering me? You guys take care. The church should be doing this, and we forget we're the church. We're part of the body. So that's our big push with personhood.
Tim, that's one of the things I like about Personhood Iowa. I think your website is personhoodiowa.org. .com. But one of the things I like about you guys is one of the first sort of public events that you guys had was bringing the church back to life. Mm-hmm. That you aimed your energy, you aimed your efforts at the church. I think that's a very profound thing to do, because as you pointed out in our conversations, Tim, that when people have young kids, or they have a young daughter, and that young daughter finds herself pregnant, unwanted pregnancy because she was having sex and she shouldn't have been, with someone who she's not committed to, he's not committed to her, and they're inside the church, they still don't turn to the church. They don't call their pastor. They don't call their youth pastor. They don't call the elders of the church. They go to Planned Parenthood just like everybody else. And I think, Tim, this is such a fascinating thing. It's cool that we have Drew here at the same time, because you think about this If 714 initiative that the Family Leader is putting on here. This is where it all starts, right? If the church would repent and say, hey, you know what? Inside our building, inside where we're at, we've dropped the ball here. We all know stories of young people inside the church that have gotten pregnant unwantedly and been faced with, I would like to get an abortion. That seems like an option to them. And the church needs to repent of not repent of allowing abortions to happen within inside its walls. That's not what we need to repent from, I think. Drew, I think we need to repent from not knowing how to talk to our young people when they find themselves in these situations.
Well, I think it goes back to Jesus' words when he said, if the salt loses its saltiness, it's good for nothing. And the church has stopped being salt in so many areas where salt is needed. In our teenagers' lives, in the culture, in the lives of people who are facing unwanted pregnancies or unplanned pregnancies. And if 714 and your initiative will bring the church back to life, we are focusing on the most important place. Because if the church is not going to be salty, how can we expect the culture at large to be salty? It's got to start with us.
How long ago do you think we lost that, Drew? Did we lose that with the women's vote? Did we lose that with the victory of World War I and we were just full of ourselves? Did we lose it in the 60s and 70s when we decided that divorce was okay?
No, I think you were right before that. I think it goes back to about the time when the church lost a lot of confidence in regards to Darwin's theories.
Okay.
The late 1800s, the early 1900s, there was a major intellectual shift, and many of our large institutions, our secondary education. I mean, Yale and Harvard were divinity schools.
Yeah.
That's how they started in the 1600s or 1700s. But there came a time when the church was no longer salt in our education system, in our legal training for our judges and lawyers, in our entertainment world, where the church just stopped being salt. And many of those institutions just ran off and transformed our culture one direction. But one of the things we're working on right now is 714, the family leader, is an earnest desire to see cultural transformation. And it's got to start with the church being salt again.
Isn't that kind of like making a U-turn with the Queen Mary, though? I mean, isn't it a dollar late and a day short?
I understand what you're saying. With the Queen Mary, it's only hard to turn because she's on a big ocean with a lot of water. Well, our God is a lot of water.
Yeah, that's true.
And he can toss the Queen Mary around like a twig.
Yeah, he's good with water. We've seen that. Drew Zahn is my guest, communications director from the Family Leader. Big event next week, Monday, the 21st day of March, down at the state capitol. This is a holy worship service. Holy worship service. 11:30 to 12:30, State Capitol West Side. And one of the things that will hopefully convince you before you go, my pastor, Pastor Mike, has been asked to deliver the Easter message, the message of redemption, the message of risen, the message of forgiveness and grace. And Mike would not be there if there was going to be some sneaky political thing. Remember that the Family Leader is not a political organization. They are an organization that believes in Jesus Christ. And how can we, you, me, have a better relationship with that guy named Jesus? That's their mission. Yeah, every 4 years we're getting involved with stuff, or I shouldn't say we, they're getting involved with stuff that helps you to choose and select people who would be great leaders for our country. I would hope you would accept that be part of their calling as well as a part of yours. But Monday, it's a grand worship service to kick off Holy Week. State Capitol West Side, 11:30 to 12:30, and you'll learn more about If 714, if714.org. Is something you want to download in your phone or on your computer. I'll bet you'll find it is. We'll find out more about that when we come back. It's 4:35, and we're live here on The Truth, 99.3.
Northern Lights Pizza's amazing garlic butter makes amazing breadsticks. Now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza. I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Homs.
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed. Fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money-back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're going to make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money-back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
.438, 22 minutes before the top of the hour on this, the 16th day of March in the Lord's year 2016. Two wonderful guests today. Communications Director of the Family Leader, Drew Zahn. Big worship service happening at the state capitol this coming Monday, the 21st, 11:30 to 12:30, west side of the steps. And they'll also be introducing IF 714. Why don't you tell us more about that, please? And tell us about the neat thing with the Newsboys.
If 714 is based on 2 Chronicles 7:14, a call to God's people who are called by his name to humble themselves and pray, to pray specifically for revival in our lives, in our marriages, in our churches, communities, in our nation, to pray that God would change the hearts. And if 714, this call to prayer, is going out right now through an app, a phone app, smartphone app, available now. I just announced it during this show for the first time.
Yep, I just got Bob put it on my phone.
Yep,
for me.
It's available now on both Apple and Android devices. And what it does, it's very simple. It's completely free. You can go to if714.org to download it, or you can go to the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store, download this free app. Reminds you twice a day with a little reminder and a scripture verse or an encouraging note to pray at 7:14 a.m. and 7:14 p.m. What's exciting about it is it's whatever time zone you're in. So if a bunch of people are praying right along with you at 7:14 here in the Central Time Zone, an hour later those same prayers go up in the Mountain Time Zone, an hour later in the Pacific Time Zone, and so forth around the world in a global rhythm of prayer. And what's also just tremendously exciting is this really is going global thanks to the Christian megastar band, the Newsboys.
Yeah, God is not dead.
God's Not Dead 2 tour going around the world starting at the end of this month, and they are taking, because they believe in it, not because we paid them, they believe in If 714 in this app. They are literally in the middle of their concert. It's going to stop the concert, pull out a smartphone and encourage everyone there, download this app, start praying twice a day. 750,000 people expect expected to attend those concerts before they're done, hearing about and signing up to pray along with you in If 714.
How did they hear about it?
Good. They were actually all together in one place. It was the Mike Huckabee's show years ago. Bob Vanderplatz was out in New York. The Newsboys were out in New York. They were going to be on his show at the same time. They started talking about If 714. They stayed in touch. And as the book got written a few years ago, then the text service got created. And now as we finally move towards the app, it's been a few years in development. But they just stayed in touch, and they heard about it. We went to some of their concerts and showed them what was going on, and we've just been in touch. We've got videos on the website of lead singer Michael Tate talking to Bob about how much he believes in it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And this has all been and 714 has all been a brainchild of the family leader and you guys' desire to be biblically, you're going to be right with the Bible and correct with it and follow what it tells us to do. And that certainly is coming out of 2 Chronicles 7:14. So we sure appreciate you guys doing that, and we hope everybody joins us at the state capitol on Monday, West Side, 11:30 to 12:30, to hear a wonderful, uplifting message. Ooh, sound like I'm on 107.1 now. Come and hear our uplifting message of joy. Anyway.
And you'll get plenty of truth.
Yeah.
How about that?
And Pastor Mike Householder will be giving the message, and Bob will be there to talk a little bit about 714. So that's awesome. On the other side of my table today is Bob Montserrat, the cat in the hat who watches the chat for it, and also the Service Legends Truth text line, which you can participate on anytime at 515-809-0993. That's 515-809-0993. See, you're a communications director. Do you see how we did that little phone number ditty there? 0993, kind of like...
Yeah, you passed it out, just like I've been passing out if714.org all show. Yep.
Oh, yeah, you have been, haven't you? Okay. Tim, you just got back from a pro-life rally in Ohio. You're on fire.
Yeah. Well, actually, it has nothing to do with Cleveland. Well, sort of it does, because we got to monitor it while I was in Cleveland. There was a House file that when we were here a few weeks ago with Rebecca Kiesling, she helped kind of get off the ground, and it was a bill that pertains to rapists losing their parental rights. Mm-hmm. And just found out about 2 hours ago, right before I came here, that it passed unanimously out of the Senate. So it is now heading to the governor's desk every step of the way, from subcommittee, committee, full House, committee, and Senate was all unanimous all the way through. So
what does that mean, Tim? Explain that to me. A rapist having parental rights. That's what is.
Sure.
This is an odd thing to me.
And it's a hard thing to say too when you try to come up with the name of it, because those words don't feel like they should go together.
No,
right?
no, they don't.
So what happens a lot of times? One, let me give you a stat up front. There's a stat that says, or this is it's not a stat that says, but a woman who becomes pregnant via rape is 50%. She chooses life 50% more than any other unplanned pregnancy.
Okay.
Even the most pro-life people give me the look that Drew just gave me, like, really? But yes, at a 50% higher rate than other unplanned pregnancies, they choose life. So that's kind of an interesting fact to keep in mind. But we want to help that even go higher. And if you might imagine the prospect of facing their rapist in court or whatever is going to be, and they probably will have to do that, but to continue throughout the life of the child to have to face the rapist may lead them to not also bring the child to term. So what happens is girl gets raped, gets pregnant, she decides she's going to keep the baby. She goes and files for public assistance. Then the state automatically kicks in to establish paternity. They go find the father because the state's now paying out benefits. The father has to pay child support. Well, then the guy says, well, if I want to pay child support, I'm going to see the kid. So he uses that as more power, sometimes continues the raping and abusing the lady or the woman. Also, we'll find, let's say she's going to place a child for adoption. They have to go establish paternity. He needs to sign off on releasing his parental rights. Well, if he's got a savvy attorney, the attorney says, sure, we'll do that as long as you drop the rape charges.
And so now this House file that came in actually puts an end to the rapist having those benefits then. Is that right?
It's not just necessarily an automatic. The interesting thing with custody is it's a civil case, so it's not a court case. So it's established. It's the clear and convincing evidence, I believe, is the standard, the highest standard in the civil courts. So the gal
without a reasonable doubt is just criminal.
That's criminal. Yep. So this isn't
that in civil cases.
Yep. This isn't criminal. So that's the highest standard, and that's up to the judge to decide. They understand that standard. They're going to ask questions of both parties, and they're going to find things like, was she still contacting him via Facebook? Were they still texting? Were they still talking? If that's the case, then maybe it wasn't rape. But if not, it's clear and convincing that was, she's told people, she's went to the doctor, some of those kind of things. But a lot of times she never press charges because, again, now I'd have to face him again. So
if this goes all the way and the governor signs this would, from the way I understand it, if I understand this correctly, this would empower a woman who's been raped, who becomes pregnant. It would give her the courage to keep that baby because it could very well put distance between her and the person who raped her, and also give her the benefits of being the mother. So she would still get government assistance as a mother.
If she needed it. Yep.
If she needed government assistance as a mother, but would protect her from having to have an ongoing relationship with this criminal who's raped her.
Well, and that's an important point, too, because we're not just talking about her likelihood of keeping the child. The trauma of having her rapist come in and say, well, I'm going to file for, paternity rights or visitation rights.
Yep.
I mean, the trauma that woman has to go through. Yeah. And this finally gives her an opportunity to be able to cut that off and say, you will traumatize me no more.
Well, and Drew, I think you make a great point there, and that is that's probably why this has gotten so far, because this isn't purely a pro-life issue, although pro-life people are obviously for it. This is an issue of just common decency. Looking at the humanity of the whole issue here, that this rapist should not have parental rights.
All right, we're coming up on the break. We'll be back. The Salem Radio Network news coming up at the top of the hour. Then Ask Hank, the Bible Answer Man, here live on The Truth.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens. Rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rockton Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
Northern Lights Pizza, your home of the tasty crust. Our garlic butter sauce now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
10 minutes before the top of the hour, Salem Radio Network news, and then 1-888 Ask Hank. Hank, the Bible Answer Man, live around the world and right here in Des Moines, Iowa on 99.3 every day from 5 to 6 p.m. We hope you choose to join us. In the studio today with me is Drew Zahn, Communication Director from the Family Leader. You've got a big event coming up next Monday. Tell us about it.
Monday, March 21st at the Capitol. It is a Holy Week worship service. And that's an important point to emphasize there, too. This is about Jesus Christ. It's about worship. It's not a political rally. It's a worship service. But we're holding it on the west steps of the Capitol so that our legislators can join us and the administrators and the pages and the whole Capitol community can all join together to start Holy Week off right. It's at 11:30 to 12:30, Monday, March 21st at on the west steps of the Capitol. And the lead speaker, the speaker is going to be Pastor Mike Householder of Lutheran Church of Hope.
And just to understand, this is my pastor, and if this had any political nudge to it at all, he wouldn't be there. That's nothing against the Family Leader. It's nothing against anybody. We are a missions church, not an issues church, which in a way, you and I were talking earlier, Tim, you wish every church was more of an issues church because you feel that the message of personhood and preserving life and pro-life should be spoken from the pulpit, not necessarily from the press conference.
Agreed. Yeah, I think it's our command to love our neighbor, and we believe our neighbor is preborn as well as after they've been born. So yeah, I think we need to, as Chris alluded to earlier, we need to change that stereotype of when a girl gets pregnant and comes into the church that she's going to hear pss, 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 pss. We need to have that posture of open arms. We love you. Your life's going to change. We're going to help you at this point. But yeah, we need to send people up to the Capitol so we're not banging our head against the wall because the governor won't do this or a legislator won't do that.
Well, and when you were on the radio a couple of weeks ago, I was so just shocked that the personhood bill got to a committee that 2 Republicans and a Democrat ran. So you'd assume that both would need 2 pro votes.
And they were co-sponsors of the bill.
And they were co-sponsored, and the bill got turned down.
Yeah. Well, and I remember you reading his email that he sent to his constituents, said he prayed and the Lord told him that this wasn't the time, which he's been saying for 6 years. So,
by the way, he never returned my call.
I'm stunned.
What's his name again?
Matt Winchittle.
Yeah. He never returned my call.
Color me stunned.
Yeah.
So, when if we're not going to, the pastors were here at the founding of our country. I mean, a lot of people would tell you the reason we're here is because of pastors, the Black Robe Regiment or whatever. If we don't stand up for these things, then why in the world would we, Drew was talking about the rest of culture. Why in the world would we expect people outside of the church to stand up on these things when we don't?
Bob Montserrat is in front of the Service Legends Truth text line at 515-809-0993. Bob?
Yeah, I think this is directed to you, Tim, before the break. Talking about the bill, I believe you were talking about. Mm-hmm. Won't this give ammunition to the pro-murder people and their case for exceptions?
I'm not sure how. No, I'm not sure how. Rebecca is obviously adamantly, she was conceived in rape. She's adamantly against that. She's behind this bill. So,
Tim, might it be that it would actually go the opposite direction? I mean, in some sense, I mean, if this bill gets passed and we're saying that a person who is raped, that rapist, right, did in fact conceive a life, and we're saying that rapist now does not have parental rights of that life. In fact, it would give more credence to the fact that in the situation of rape, we have a human life here, and we're fighting to protect not only that human life, but the mother of that life. It seems like this bill would actually counteract the exceptions people in a lot of ways, because it would give more emphasis to life and the importance of a family that's a dysfunctioned sort of family in a sense between the rapist and the person who is being raped. I don't want to call it a family. I'm just saying in terms of the two people coming together and creating life in that sense. So maybe this actually goes in the other direction. Maybe this would actually help push against the people who are for exceptions and say that, well, gosh, now how do I say? Because now if someone's raped and you want to have your baby, well, gosh, now there's not as many downsides to it.
Yeah, I'd be curious. I'm not sure how you would take that as a negative, so maybe they have to text back.
I just want to make a point here that a Facebook post I made, and I tagged you, Tim, and some other people. Mm-hmm. This was the 13th, so this would have been Monday, 13, 14, no.
It was Sunday, wasn't it?
Sunday was when I made this. Rekha Basu, and I don't like to give her any more press than she deserves. She said the most incredible thing in the opening comment on her column, which is a pro-abortion column on Sunday. She said, in talking about that the senator from Iowa who proposed a bill that abortion is a hate crime, duh. I mean, seriously. Of course abortion is a hate crime. How could you call it anything else? Well, Rekha Basu said that how can abortion be a hate crime on a group that doesn't even exist in society, the unborn? Now, I'd like you to talk to your pediatrician, your OB. I'd like you to talk to any insurance company that offers maternity insurance. I'd like you to talk to the lawmakers who say if a woman is driving down the street and she's pregnant and someone should accidentally hit her car and that baby is killed, that person driving the other car is charged with manslaughter. How can you say, Rekha Basu, that this group doesn't even exist in society? To me, that proves once and for all that the low-information voter and ignorant pro-abortion person, with today's medical personnel, every doctor, scientist, and mother can prove that that's a human being, a person, a created life, and it's wrong to kill it because they were too selfish to accept
him
the
or her,
consequences.
Mac. Remember, him or her.
Huh?
Not it, him or her.
I'm sorry, him or her.
Can we give props to Senator Jake Chapman? Because he's the one that did this. He's at Nadell, and I've started watching the video, and we will have it up very soon. The video of Jake Chapman taking 20 minutes, running over people, hollering point of order, and trying to get him kicked out of this, and basically describes what abortion is, and which illustrates what you just said, Mac, that it is absolutely a hate crime. And this was all in response to Senator McCoy trying to get transgendered added to the hate crime bill. So this was his response. And 20 minutes, and I've gotten about halfway through it. I'm trying to get it downloaded, but Jake Chapman, phenomenal hero, the excellent job. He went through and described what an abortion really is.
Did transgender get added to as a hate crime?
I don't.
That would be absurd to me.
This was the conservative, some of the conservatives' response to it. So I don't think it did make it through, but I could be wrong.
Drew Zahn from The Family Leader, thanks for coming in. You're always welcome. You're a delight, you and your 16 children.
Thank you.
Right, 16?
That's right.
He doesn't look old enough, does he?
No, he doesn't.
I don't understand it. I have two, and I look way older than he is.
Chris, thanks for being here with your one child. And Tim, thank you for being here with your two. And Bob, thank you for being here with your three. And I'll just end on this note. You carry resentments. You know you do. You have a hard time admitting them, but you do. I do. We all do. Today, give those resentments to God and forgive. Because remember, as you forgive, you will be forgiven. I'll see you at church.